I am a modern-day Rip Van Winkle. So, I've always had a problem with my body self-image, and during my high school life, not many people knew, but my close friends and family. I had a serious eating problem, and I can go days with just loading up on water and veggies. The problem got worse because all-nighters and exercising every day became a new lifestyle. I was so obsessed to be as thin as a toothpick. So during my grade 12 year in high school, prom approach, exams, and stress was saying, "No, Lynette, I'm not gonna let you sleep." I guess my body couldn't take it anymore, being fed almost nothing. On the second last day of my grade 12 year, I came down with a cold. It didn't seem like much, but it got worse. I went to the doctors, who immediately sent me to the local hospital through the ambulance. I went into emergency, where they treated me for pneumonia. In the hospital, my breathing got progressively worse. I was put on 2 liters oxygen, but then I needed more and more. I got to as high as 15 liters. I went from emergency, to telemetry, to ICU, where they put me on a BiPAP machine, which forces oxygen into the lungs. My parents were told that I had a 30% chance of living. The doctors tried to take some fluid from the bottom of my lungs to help relieve the pressure. But instead, my lungs got punctured, and I had to have a chest tube. Finally, they fed me drugs, and I was put to sleep and also put on a ventilator to help me breathe. However, my lungs kept failing. I went into respiratory failure. The doctors decided to send me to the Royal Columbian Hospital as a last resort because they had ventilators that could vibrate, which they hoped would help my lungs. As I left the ICU on a stretcher, with a respiratory therapist manually pumping air into my lungs, 20 minutes or so later, I was at RCH. The oxygen in my blood was 67%. 90% and above is considered normal. At 3 o'clock in the morning, my parents received a telephone call to come right away to the hospital. Dr. Gunning, a surgeon, explained that my lungs had completely failed and that my only chance was to be put on something called ECMO, which is to act like my lungs. During surgery, my heart stopped twice. Dr. Gunning finally decided to open my chest. He found that my heart had a small puncture, which was bleeding into my chest, so my heart could not beat. I'm pretty sure I look like Frankenstein or something, because I was on a ventilator, on ECMO, 4 chest tubes, a big incision over my heart area, a central line, and an arterial line. I had 12 IV pumps running with medication, blood and fluid. I had a perfusionist and a nurse helping me 24 hours a day. During my stay, I had 26 units of blood and plasma. I spent 7 days on ECMO, 14 days on a ventilator, in all, 21 days in ICU. I woke up 2 weeks later, like Rip Van Winkle. My world had totally changed. I was unable to move on my own. I had a big scar in my chest. I was horrified to find out what had happened to me. I had to relearn how to walk, talk, eat, and even breathe. It was definitely tough in the beginning. When I was able to walk 1 whole lap around the hospital unit with 2 hands grasping for dear life on the handles of a wheelchair, I felt so proud of myself. So when I finally was able to go home to an unfamiliar house as a 75-pound, muscleless, boobless girl, I took baby steps and slowly recovered. It was actually such a great moment. I remember tears falling down my face as I entered my room. I still couldn't walk yet, but I was happy to be home. The summer of 2012 was a life-changing event. I cried, laughed, fought, grew to live. I get questioned a lot about the random scars over my body. I had friends who thought it was a tattoo, cleavage, a random nipple. You know who you are. I used to be embarrassed about it and scared people would judge me or treat me differently. But I'm accepting it and treating it as a mark of my fight. I am alive today thanks to Dr. Gunning and to the many doctors, nurses, perfusionists, and staff at RCH. I also would like to thank all those who donated blood to the RCH Hospital Foundation that raises money to get the ECMO, without which I would not be alive today. I am alive today because of my beautiful friends, family, strangers who prayed for me, and especially my mom and dad and brother, who sat by my side
It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have